All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Real Real. Today's a big day, big day, big day. All three boys are actually back together. It's been a while since that has happened. As always, your boy Gabe, George are here today, and we do have a big time guest here with us, DJ Pup Dog, my brother, my friend, nightlife legend, and personality on Jammin' 94.5. DJ Pup Dog, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, Ado, what up? George, what up? Gabe, what's going on, fellas?
How you doing, man?
Thank you so much for having me, man. Look at Ado growing up, man. You growing up on me, bro.
I know, man. I mean, it seems like forever when we last saw each other, when things were going well, when nightlife was able to actually have what we were doing at Storyville Fridays. It's been crazy. How's your quarantine been?
It's been amazing, but don't let his humbleness fool you. He ran the clubs, bro. Like, he's being real humble right now. The dude, like, you had the places jumping, man. I used to get excited doing your spots because of the fact that, like, the crowd would come early. You had some supporters that really out there supported you, man. So big ups to you, man. First of all, let's not just overshadow that. You did your thing, man. You do your thing.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Honestly, it's I think it's helpful just having the people that have kind of paved the way, obviously with Amit, yourself, just having that much level of support, and obviously my guys with me as well. Like, it doesn't happen without a team. So
support was real.
Yeah, support is big time. But
of course, man.
Obviously, today what we really wanted to kind of get into, obviously, with everything that you've kind of done for the city of Boston, and changing the game and turning what a lot of people would be just a hobby, but then turning it into such a what is a lot of people's goals, to be honest with you. I wanted to just give some feedback on the industry, like how people can make it in terms of like music. I think obviously with COVID, that's an escape for a lot of people. So we're going to get to a lot of different stuff, and excited to kind of pick your brain at it.
Yeah, no worries, man. That's what I'm here for, man. Whatever you need, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you're going to get this question. We won't dwell on this too much, but obviously your journey,
Yep.
from DJing and now being on Jammin' 94.5, like what was that like, and what advice do you have for DJs?
DJs, man, or anybody, artists, DJs, man, just put your head down, work hard, and let the work speak for itself. And that's with any industry, right? Like, we know as promoters, as long as you put in the work, you get the crowd going, and then you don't have to be like, hey, I can be a promoter. Same thing in the DJ world. I've come up in this world of just kind of being available, being able to do a lot of things, and just kind of learning how to move corporately.
Yeah.
That's it's iHeart. It's one of the biggest radio stations in the world, and I've been blessed to be around it and kind of learn that early and how to move around, and just put your head down and just kind of just work hard and just let things come to you once the timing is right. And obviously when you're younger, you don't realize the timing part is so important. You just want it now, and
Yeah.
now going back and thinking about it, if I would have got something back 20 years ago when I first started this, I probably wouldn't be where I am, because it was the growth process of learning everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I think
timing and putting in work, man.
I think you nailed it right in the head. I feel like our generation, like speaking kind of for us, like we're in the now generation, right? Like we want instant success. We see people blowing up overnight over TikTok, and people don't understand that like you got to work hard, like really, really hard. And there is a timing factor as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that instant gratification, or
Yeah, exactly. In terms of like surrounding yourself, I think that's another thing you kind of touched on, like surrounding yourself around good people. I think that's another component that allows you to like work really, really hard. Like, what was that process like for you, and who were you surrounded yourself around when you kind of went through the ranks?
So it all started at a young age, before even DJing. Just the crew around me, the tight unit that I grew up with, we're still very tight. Obviously everybody's busy, doctors, engineers, lawyers, business owners, multiple business owners, and that's our crew. And I think just growing up was, everybody was kind of motivating each other by working hard, So now where we're at the place where every year when we meet up, we take these nice vacations and stuff like that. But it was the growing process of each motivating each other. I think the saying of if there's four millionaires around you, guess who the fifth one's
Oh
gonna be?
yeah.
Like it's just gonna happen. You're gonna be, I've in the DJ world, you've seen five angry DJs, you're going to end up being that sixth angry DJ. If you surround yourself with four working DJs, you're going to be the next fifth working DJ. Like you just really have to protect your energy. And when it comes to that, it's definitely your surroundings. And every business says that. And the millionaire is the biggest one. Like again, you surround yourself with four successful people, you're going to be the fifth successful person. And I really believe in that.
No, I believe in that too. I think I saw it firsthand. Just surrounding myself with some nightlife guys. Obviously, the Aces, the U's of the world, the Amits, the Hectics, all like every single person that I could know of that has paved the way. I try to pick all of you guys' brain. I'm sure Pup was probably annoyed with me every time I would ask him, "Yo, how do you do this? How do you do this?" Because it's like, at what you know what I mean. Some people aren't blessed with having the ability to have access or asking people that have done things at this level. You know what I mean? So I think that's so important. You have to ask people that have already done it.
You do, but Ado, your approach was always very humble. You did it at the right time. You weren't trying to talk to me when I was getting in my warm-up zone to go rock a crowd. You were, it was after the night was done, the single life, you saw if people are around me, you didn't like try to, hey man, I need to talk some business to you, when my game plan is me and my boys are trying to go get some Chinese food with these girls now. Like timing. There's timing with everything. You just got to be able to, you don't have to have that answer right then. You just got to build. You got to build slowly, and you got to just be patient with it. Because actually, if you would have done it at the wrong time, it would have turned me off, and I would have never had these conversations with you. Because it's just one of those like, this is not the time or the place. And everyone's like, well, when is the right time and the place? I don't know how to answer that, because when I am free, I want to be free. I want to be with my wife. I want to be with my dog. I want to, like, that's not the time. So it's just one of those, you just got to catch people at the right moment, at the right time. And the approach is the biggest thing, in my opinion, and how you approach it.
Yeah, I feel you. I think that's an important part of it. That like it needs to happen at the right time. It needs to be organic, and also the questions need to be like real questions. Don't just ask questions to ask questions. I think anyone like sees through that, and you're just trying to like develop a relationship. I think the relationship comes when you're genuine and you ask things that like you are trying to go through that someone else has gone through, that they can help you. You know what I mean? So I think that's also a big part of it.
And actually listening and actually implementing it, not just listening and letting it go. Oh, I had a chance to talk with so-and-so, but I'm not going to implement that into my life at all. Like I'm all the time. You've asked him questions about promoting, and he would see you actually put in the advice he gave you. There's no blueprint with promoting. There's no blueprint with making an artist become a Drake or anything like that, but there's advice. And there's a 10 people have done it this way. I'm not saying it's the right way, but that's what I know, and that's the education I'm gonna give you, because that's what I know. You know what I mean?
Facts. No, I feel that. Now we talked a little bit about entitlement a little bit. Like what do you think a lot of folks, I know promoters definitely have a sense of entitlement. I think our industry as a whole, I think there's a difference between having like confidence, right, and like not having entitlement. I think there's a big distinguishment there. I can't speak right now, Pup. But what do you think that the difference is, and how do you kind of navigate those two paths, if you will?
Well, entitlement is gonna affect only one person. That person is gonna be you. And again, these are what everything I'm saying, it's from experiences, my experience. I'm not saying these are facts or anything like that. I really feel like I feel like I'm at a place right now where if I hit somebody up and they don't hit me back, if I get mad at that, that person is living their life.
Yeah.
The only person that's affecting about getting mad about them not hitting me back is myself. And I'm going to let that sit in my head. They're going to be in my head. They're going to be rent free, and it's going to affect me only. That person doesn't even know that it's bothering me. So I think entitlement, personally, I think it just affects that person, because you're just getting angry for no reason. And that's the world we've come into, where it's instant access. You just said this earlier about, we want things right now. I hit you up. You know how many, I check my DMs once a week because
Yeah.
I just can't, I'm going to go backwards in life. So when I check it, it's like on a Sunday night when I finally shut down, when I'm like, on my phone, sitting in bed, or I'm not really a TV person.
Yeah.
So like, I'll kind of scroll through it once in a while, and I'll literally see, yo, pup, I have this song I want you to hear. Yo, I've been trying to get in contact with you. Yo, it's like that. And then the last one is F you, and
Yeah.
like, now, mind you, I haven't seen any of these. And now when I did see it, I'm like, well, okay, you didn't even, I know it's been a week or whatever it's been, but you don't know my schedule. You don't know what I do.
Yeah.
So you just got mad at me. Now, when I did have this chance, because if you actually do know me, you know that on Mondays, I do take local calls. I do reach out to as many people as I can. I can't reach out to everybody. It's just not going to happen. I have my own stuff going on, but you could have been that person that I would reach out to and educate you a little bit on what my thought process is, what you're asking me. And I do that every Monday, but now you just cut it off and you said F you. So I'm like, okay, well, F me. So, okay. And that all lived in your head while I continued to live my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And now on Sunday, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, you just went through all these emotions and I didn't even know about it.
That's a mood.
And that's the thing too, is that a lot of people with entitlement think that they owed something. They're always owed something, right? So when they're hitting you up like, hey, I need this, I need that, they're like, well, what do I need? Like,
yeah, facts.
why is it always about what you need from me? And like, if I don't hit you back in enough time, like, don't you think what I got going on? Like, do you ever check up on me like, hey, how you doing? Or like, oh, what can you do for me type of thing? And that's the thing with entitlement, is everyone's like, what can you do for me? Not like, hey, what's going on? Like, how are you? Like, how's the family? Like, what's going on in your life? And if they like just took a second to appreciate that, then they would take things like that less seriously, and they would not say F you.
Facts. Right. That's big
no,
facts.
You're 100% right. But there's Ado hits me with how's your family doing? I know that he doesn't want anything from me. You know what I mean? Like, you come out of nowhere asking me about my family. I'm like, bro, just get to the point. Because now
yes, because like, they hit you up for a yes, 100%.
Yeah, like, it's got to grow. That growth is going to happen. And again, it's a double-edged sword. If they hit you with the straight up, I need something from you, you're like, dude, I can't even get a how's your family. Yeah. And then when they hit you with the how's your family, you're like, bro, just get to the point. So even there's
I know
a
you
fine
hit me
line.
up for something.
I don't know the answer to that, but it's just a fine line and a fine approach in how you do that. Like, it just comes with time. And that's the only thing I keep saying is just, figure out, I said this on a tweet not too long ago, figure out the person you're trying to get mentored from, what they like doing. I'm not saying, like I don't like golf, right? Like, I'm just gonna give you an example. Yeah. I don't like golf, but my mentor, Kevin Lyles, loves golf. When he invited me to come golfing with him, cool. I don't know how to golf, but I'll figure something out. And I'm not going to talk business with them at this golf course, but third, fourth conversations at the golf course, I'm going to keep going. And, I'm going to learn how to golf, figure out how to golf, or whatever the hell it is. And then two, when he talks to me about business, then now the conversation is open from my mentor asking me about, let's talk this. Usually it's, when we get out to these things in the beginning, it was more about, I just want to get away. I don't want to talk work. And you just kind of grow on their time, So just kind of going with that too. It's just about timing, bro. Like you just got to approach it right. And you just got to not fake it either. You just got to wanting to understand that it's going to take some time. If you're trying to get some advice from somebody that, you want to get mentored from, you're going to be on their time, not your time.
Absolutely. And I think there's something like, to kind of clarify, like, obviously I look at you as a mentor, I look at Ahmed as a mentor, I look at Ace, Jeff, all the guys in the nightlife space. And I like, people don't realize, like, I also waited my time. Like, there wasn't just me trying to come up in here and just be like, yo, listen, like, I'm this new kid on the block. Like, I understand there's patience in playing a role until they kind of give you that nudge of like, hey, listen, like, all right, this is where we want you to do. So like, I think people, again, the expectation that you put in your own mind that someone has to help you, I think people need to remove that and understand, listen, how can I help this person? And so in return, they're going to help me along the process of getting where I want to go. Yep. And so I think that's a big thing of it, especially people in nightlife, for sure.
And in any industry, same thing what you just said. Like, you were the king of your college, you know, like, we were watching you and we saw how you were moving around. You were helping yourself. And when you help yourself, you will never have to ask for a handout because people will want to help you because you've already shown that you want to grow.
Yeah.
When you start asking for a handout, one, no one's going to give it to you and nobody owes you anything. And two, the less you ask for a handout, the more work you put in, the more hands you're going to get given to you. I promise you that.
Yeah.
You know, because the more, again, like I'm going to repeat that again. Once you put in the work, people are going to want to help you, not the other way around.
And people are getting some heat in this podcast today, getting some gems. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Hey, Pup Man, how you doing? It's Gabe over
good,
here.
Man. Can you get the camera on you or not?
Oh, yeah. Let's switch it around for the guy.
What's going on? Hey, man. So I grew up in Boston. I'm 25 years old. I've always heard you on the radio. You've always been relevant. And
thank you.
How have you always managed to stay relevant, especially with, you know, social media becoming a new thing? Like, how does that play a role in your success?
Thank you. Well,
that's a big question, by the way. Big question for you, Pup.
Well, ever since you said, you know, you've heard me for a long time. Well, 10 years before that, when you didn't hear of me, is when I put in all that work for my name to be able to be heard as much as you just said. You know, I mean, it's relevant is just being able to. One, I play music all day. I'm in a culture that keeps you young. You know, I'm involved in the city. I do a lot of music listening parties, New York, you know, with big artists to no-name artists, you know. I love what I do. So that's what I think. One thing is discovering new music, discovering new artists, being able to play it for you when you were 10 years old or 12 years old when you first started listening to me, you know, being able to be that guy when you heard whatever song it was and you're like, yo, I remember that. That's what I love to do. And I always tell my boss this, if you ever took me off air, and, you know, I run the station behind the scenes too. I'm a assistant program director. So I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but if they took away like my on air stuff and wasn't able to discover music and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't do what I'm doing. That job is because the world is where we're at. Like you have to have many hats, just like any business, right? So I just grew into that. I learned that part of it because I knew in order for me to be able to do what I love, I got to be able to do the bigger stuff, right?
Yep.
I know as a person listening in, you're like, that's the bigger part. It is, but there's a lot of things that makes the station run, and that's, you know, that's the bigger thing for this company, obviously. So, you know, doing what I love is what keeps me relevant. And, you know, I have a very supporting family, including a new wife that, you know, is completely backs me up when it comes to going and doing the new release parties and stuff like that. I work from 7 a.m. to about 9 p.m. And then when the world was open, I would travel to New York. You know, on my free time, I would do all these things that I didn't have to worry about, like, you know, a family and like, that sounds weird, but like she was just supportive and I get it too. I was able to do the balance thing. You know what I mean? So it's just more of the being able to be relevant is because I just love what I do.
Yeah, the passion drives you.
Yeah, you know, and it keeps me young, bro. Like,
yeah, I love it. I love hearing it. Keep going. Next 25 years. I want to hear it.
Thank you, man. I do have a lot of stuff coming though. So
right.
there's a lot of more stuff happening. I know the on-air stuff is definitely my big umbrella of what I do, but there's a lot of, you know, on the umbrella, you know how there's all those points? I'm trying to fill up all those points, man. There's gonna be a lot of different things happening, but I know without this, that's not gonna happen. So it's one of those juggling acts.
That's crazy, Pup, because I don't think people realize the commitment of like being all in your craft, whatever it is, right? Like whatever you want to do, entertainment, you know, corporate, whatever it is, you have to commit to it, and you have to understand that there's going to be sacrifices. Like you don't get to where you are at, right, without sacrifice. That maybe sometimes like your family, but like acknowledging that, hey, listen, like it's a sacrifice together because whatever, it's going to provide us this, right? So I think that's what people also forget. It's like, I didn't want to go out every single night. Like, let's be honest, but you have to, right? Because like, I have to go shake the hands. I have to go meet the new people. I have to show people and show my team, right, the example of what it takes to do this. You know what I mean? So I think that's also just another point that like the young generation and the folks that are listening, or not even just young generation, anyone that's listening, any age group, I think that is so important that you have to love it. And also you have to know that it's going to come with a lot of pain and sacrifices along the way.
100%. And, you know, I don't play chess, but it's like a chess move, right? Everything, like you go out, you're not going to go out on a random Wednesday night when you know that's the one night that you could hang out with your family. But now there's an event happening that Wednesday night, and you know that there's a chess move. Like, okay, I got to make this move on this one. You know what I mean? Because for the long run, it's gonna help me what I need to get to. You're not gonna see the finish line right there.
Yeah.
But if you see the vision 6 months from now, a year from now, you know, even 2 years or whatever the timing is for Ado, like that's what it is. But you just, if you know that it's not going to happen tomorrow, me going out on Wednesday is not going to affect anything, then cool, not. But you know that you're investing in your whatever you got going on.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, pup,
Yes.
it's George.
What's up,
What's
George?
up, man?
we're all just taking turns over here.
No, I love
Try
it,
to
man.
pick your brain, man.
Yeah, man.
Love it. No.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. So during this like time, obviously it's been like real tough for a lot of people, but for somebody like you who has such a passion in like performing and playing in clubs and venues and traveling, what's been the toughest part of this pandemic for you?
I've been super blessed, bro, George. I'm not even gonna lie, man. This is where, you know, I hope a lot of DJs and a lot of people that have, you know, I just hope it opens up everybody's eyes when it comes to having multiple sources of income and having your hands in a lot of things. Because I literally just came out of a meeting with a girl who wrote a book from Boston. I literally left there, and we were talking about this, how in the pandemic, you would think that, you know, without my traveling, everything would be a little bit lighter. I've never been busier, bro.
Wow.
I've never been busier, but that's also my fault though too, because when the position I'm in, I hired a lot of DJs. There's been a lot of people that I've been able to bring onto the team, right? And unfortunately, the world that we're living in right now, there's a lot of furloughs happening. There's a lot of companies that are letting go. So when I was give stuff off to like my team members to do something, my dumbass, which is not dumbass, I'm just like, you know, I'm a worker like that. I picked up 5 more things, right? Because I was like, oh, this is off my plate. Let me pick up 5 more things.
Right.
Now, when everybody got furloughed and when unfortunately the situation that the world is in right now, all those things came back on my plate. Plus all the stuff I'm doing is back on my plate. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So in that way, like it's been, you know, I've been blessed that they've, you know, I'm in my studio. You see my studio right here. No one's allowed in here. I'm allowed to come in here. They told me I could work, I can do the shows from home and stuff like that. It's just not the same. I just don't get the vibe at the house. I'm at home when I'm doing, you know, I needed my studio. I need the 4 computers in front of me. I need to be able to talk to the listeners. I need to be able to do all that, which I wasn't able to do. So, you know, they worked out a system where nobody's allowed to be in my studio. Foreign comes in the morning. He answers phones and stuff. And then they do a deep cleanse on Friday. And literally, I'm not allowed to have anybody in here just because I do have my mother-in-law with me too. So I was like, I'm not risking it either because I do have my mother-in-law with me. You know what I mean? So it's been the busiest I've ever been this pandemic because I have my hands on a lot of things. So going back to what you just said, I just hope people understand that one source of income or one mindset is hopefully is thing of the past.
Right.
Now,
It's not enough. It's never enough. Not in today's world.
Nah. And I've been preaching that to all my guys for a long time. And that's the only reason I'm still part of this company, part of any company, which is what they do. If you can do 5 things, you're going to be part of the team. If 100%. Not, then they'll get somebody who will.
100%.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big thing. I think there's a misconception around like having your hands in a lot of things and saying, hey, you're distracted. But like, I think you explained it really well. Like if you have a team that helps, facilitates, and takes things off your plate, I think it's really important to, again, diversify your revenue streams, diversify your portfolio of businesses, because I think this pandemic has shown a lot of people, it made me open my eyes, right? But I think there's also good that has come from it that, okay, you know what, now it gave me that push to focus on the media stuff that's going to help me for the long term. And whenever nightlife comes back, and, you know, I think I want people to know it is going to come back eventually. I think it's going to look a little different, but it's going to come back. But if you're going to have both plan A and plan B going, like you're going to be set up for the future. You know what I mean? I think that's also another important thing to kind of call out.
Well, what you just said about, like, you know, this pandemic opened your eyes. You started a podcast, you, George, and Gabe, you know, you guys are doing this thing. It's going to be 2 things that are going to happen. Yeah. Either people are going to really reach their goals, or people are going to get even more lazier. And it's going to be, there's not going to be an in-between anymore. It's going to be people that are really successful. There's going to be the Travis Scotts who made $100 million in a pandemic, or there's going to be people that spend 8 hours in Clubhouse watching what other people make money. You know,
and we didn't want to be those guys.
No.
That's a fact.
No,
That's a fact.
don't. This thing is the devil, bro. Like,
Yeah.
be careful with this thing. And I've yeah. It's sucked in,
That's
man.
perfect.
Oh man. So I want to talk a little bit about building, because you obviously named the Travis Scott, and I think those guys and their team, and understanding how they can pivot and use the time, manipulate like the market as it is, and just be like, all right, you know what, this is an opportunity to do X, Y, Z. And a lot of artists are doing it. A lot of I think the DJs that are awake are doing it, like this idea of building, right? Building your brand, building your business. Like, what does that mean to you? And obviously you've done it really well. So I think for listeners, it's artists, entertainers, performers. Like, I think hearing it and how you've maneuvered that process and what advice you have, I think is super, super helpful. And for us as well, we want to soak in, like, how do we continue to build and kind of get to that next level?
Well, for me, what worked was I came in a world before social media, so it was footwork, right? Like
Yeah.
what we told you about promoting, right? Like
Yeah.
it was about touching hands and not just sending a Facebook message out. Because again, in your world, it got diluted by Facebook when people became promoters, because they were just posting up a flyer and going, "Hey, I've got 800 people saying they're going to come," and then 8 people show up, because that's the ratio of 100 flyers being passed out. One person's going to come. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same thing, you
Yeah.
know. But the touching people, going out there and building my brand and just sticking with it, you know, and able to, not only just build a brand, but like actually provide something for people. When
Yeah.
I get the messages I get about some of the stuff that I do when it comes to artists, I just literally got a call yesterday from a listener who said, my interviews or my conversations never feel like an interview. It always feels like a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's been my thing. If that person felt it that way, then that I've done my job. If I can live with you that way, then that's a win for me. There's still till this day people, when I walk around, they might know my voice. They'll be like, "Oh, that's what you look like." In my mind, it triggers that I didn't do a good enough job for you to go search me on Instagram and figure out what I look like. It took, so I didn't connect with you that hard yet. So I still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Facts.
Or stuff like that. So I just always keep myself thinking that way, and it's always on, bro. Like literally, I'm always thinking of how I'm going to brand, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do this. I sit home and I think about posting up a mix. Okay, how do I engage in getting another listener to get into my mix? It's always about brand building.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the same process that we're doing. So how can we continue touching the audience that we want to get in front of?
How do we build ourselves?
Exactly. How do we build ourselves? How do we pivot from the live experiences to now the digital experiences, but still providing that sense of entertainment? So, I think the podcast.
The biggest advice is don't try to do it. Like when you try to go viral, you're never going to go viral, right?
Absolutely.
You do it out of love. You do it because you enjoy it. You stay consistent and you just stick with it. If it hasn't happened in 6 months, if you quit, you might be at that place where it was going to happen next week, but you gave up.
Right,
you know what I mean? So you never know when to give up. Just stay consistent. Do it with love. Do it with like a team, and just do it consistently, and it's going to happen. Whatever you guys, anybody, whatever they want to do, if you stay consistent with it, it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that we're trying to be leaders in, and trying to make sure, like, hey, we don't have any expectations of being a certain amount or where we want to be. I think we're just wanting to improve every day and just get 1% better, right? And then I think that's going to lead us to that promised land at the end of the tunnel. So
compete with yourself from the day before.
Yeah. Exactly. Lastly, the last thing we want to touch on, and I'll leave it to you guys if you guys have any kind of final questions for Pup, but we've been trying to help artists and like, it's such a hard thing to do, because like everyone has such different tastes of music. But, I believe some of the folks that we have are super talented. They're marketable. They're, people that, but what advice do you have for artists in general? And also, like, what are some of the things that maybe we can do to help build their portfolio and persona a little bit more?
Well, just know that the people that jump on with you guys early are the ones that you guys really want to get behind, because you're gonna get the handouts, you're gonna get the people coming at you guys when you guys are massive, the real, it's just at a different level.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talent out there, and everybody has the same platform.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to, radio is the NBA of music, right? Like
Mm.
it's you have all these N1 ball players. They're amazing ball players,
Yeah.
but they're not at that NBA level yet. And the only way you get to the NBA level is by putting in the work, right?
Yeah.
Like you outshine everybody in that N1 team to get to the. There's a couple players that have gone from N1 to NBA. Same thing in the music industry. Now the only thing is it's just cluttered. It's just cluttered with so much stuff out there that it's just even harder to find the right ones. But it's there, and once it connects, don't worry about radio. Let radio come to you. I
Yeah.
know that's not what you're asking
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
asking how you can help,
Yeah.
but just they have the platforms. Go out there and spend money on the right publicist, the right
Yeah.
marketing. Get the
Yeah.
right people behind you.
Yeah.
Get that social push. Use the platforms to get into. Don't just keep focusing on your 1,500 followers because they're your followers. Try to find another one more for every day. And how
Yeah.
do I do that? Okay, I'm gonna shoot this message out to 18 to 24-year-old girls in Boston. One person's gonna tag on, and that's your one fan. Just like at a show, you just always try to create that fan base. I've toured with a lot of new artists. I've developed them, and every time we go on, we're like, all right, we're gonna grab 5 new fans of J. Cole's. Like, say if we were opening up for J. Cole, whatever it was. You know what I mean? That's our goal. Is every show we need to come out of there with 5 new fans, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And you just keep growing that way, So same thing here. How you can help them, what you guys are doing. You guys are creating a platform. There's a lot of platforms out there, and it's about who's doing it right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's about the music, bro. If the music is good, it's gonna sell itself.
Yeah, listen, and I think that was just reassuring for us is that patience. I think that's a big piece of what you just kind of said. Patience, working hard, trying to tap into different folks that don't already listen to them, and yeah, there's going to be an investment that's part of it. So I definitely think what we're doing, just kind of hearing from your perspective, just makes me feel a lot better of like how we're going to continue working with them and how we're going to continue to, honestly, for me, I'm a big believer. You guys gave me such a big chance. I want to pass that forward. And I think that's what I want our industry to be like. You know what I mean? Because like, that's what I got into it for. You know what I mean? I wanted to learn. And if I can take a little piece of what you guys taught me and pass it on forward and let them take the culture, right, better than we left it, I'm good.
Yep.
Like that's what I want to leave out. Yeah.
Even with the clubs, you used to start bringing in artists, right? And that was a great look. That's a great look for you. Now, it's not your fault that some of these artists that said that they have this big ass following wasn't able to do what they need to do. And that's exactly what I tell some of these people that are like, yo, I got this crazy following. And I was like, I promise you, even the Paradise, which is not even big or anything like that. I was like, you sell tickets at $20 at the door, and you sell it out. I promise you, I will come to you and we will play your stuff.
Yeah.
And they can't even do that because they really don't. You have to invest in yourself. There's a perception is they think they're a lot bigger, and then you get hit with reality. And I saw it happen firsthand with some people that invested thinking that they had, oh yeah, we're going to show you.
Yeah.
Rented the House of Blues, literally 48 people in this spot. Now, House of Blues costs $10,000 to rent.
Yeah, that's.
They have thousands of followers on their Instagram, and their SoundCloud is going crazy numbers. But again, that's the perception versus what reality is you still got a lot of growing to do,
Yeah, absolutely. Pup, man. Guys, you have any final questions for Pup?
Hey, Pup, I don't want to pivot to a more lighter subject. I love asking DJs how they got their names. I just want to ask you, how'd you get it?
So Pup is short for Papu, which is the youngest in the house in my culture. It's Papu and Muna. And my brother's Muna. I called him Baijan. Anyways, to keep it short real quick, my real name is Kareem. And growing up, there was a lot of Kareems in my culture that was growing up at the same time. At that time, it was only popular with my Pakistani people, but now it's everywhere. But anyways, so playing basketball, we never called each other by our real names. It was always Papu, Papu, Papu. His friends shortened it to Pup. And then I grew up in LA. So the Nate Dogg, Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound is what my era is what I grew up with. And so DJ Pup Dog is what
I love
that
it.
comes from.
That's dope. That's dope. We got it all from Pup, man. We got advice. We got a lot of knowledge on this podcast, Pup. I know you're a busy guy, and you taking the time to jump on the podcast, provide some knowledge. A lot of gems in here. Honestly, I appreciate you. You know that. Nothing but respect for you, and I'm sure once this is all done, we'll link up and hopefully get some things plan in, me, you, and Ahmed, and the rest of the crew for sure.
Definitely. Well, the feeling is mutual. Nothing but love, and I'm glad what you guys are doing, man. I got you guys back all day, man.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
Pop.
man.
All right,
Appreciate
Pop.
you, man.